This is the Intel Lever AI report for April 14th, 2026. This is a watershed moment for AI in healthcare. Mass General Brigham just published a landmark study showing that Grok, along with ChatGPT, achieves over 90% accuracy in diagnosing medical conditions when given complete patient information. Think about that number, 90%. That's competitive with many human doctors in controlled settings. But here's what makes this interesting. The researchers are being careful about the implications. Early in the diagnostic process, before the model sees all the information, accuracy drops significantly. A patient trusting in AI's first impression could end up chasing phantom diagnoses or missing real problems. That's why Dr. Mark Suchi from the research team emphasizes that AI works best as a tool in the hands of trained professionals, not as a replacement for them. Doctors still do something AI can't. They synthesize information across physical exams, medical history, lab results, and clinical judgment. But as a diagnostic aid, this changes the equation. We're looking at a future where AI handles the heavy lifting on pattern recognition, while doctors focus on the irreducibly human parts of medicine. XAI just released Grok 420, and it's a deceptively smart update. The headline feature is simple: speed and quality modes. Users can now choose whether they want answers in milliseconds or polished, thorough responses. This sounds obvious, but it's actually a mature design decision that reflects where AI has matured. Every AI task isn't the same. Drafting a social media post has different requirements than deep research writing. A quick API call for real-time data needs different performance characteristics than a complex analysis. Grok 4.20 lets users make that trade-off explicitly. There's also an economic layer here. Large language models are expensive to run. The bigger and more capable they are, the more compute they burn. Letting users opt for speed over quality on simpler tasks reduces costs for both the company and the user. It's the kind of pragmatic feature you see in infrastructure products that have matured past the hype phase. Grok isn't trying to be everything to everyone anymore. It's trying to be the right tool for each specific task. Anthropic just announced something that looks like a business decision, but signals a bigger industry shift. Claude is pulling back from third-party integrations and consolidating on official platforms. For developers who've been using Claude through third-party services, this means building directly against official APIs going forward. But what's really happening here is infrastructure consolidation. Third-party platforms have been acting as intermediaries, taking cuts of API usage, and sometimes modifying how Claude actually behaves. Anthropic is saying that era is over. By consolidating, they maintain complete control over the user experience and capture the full economic value of their model. This pattern is playing out across AI. The initial phase of AI distribution was Wild West. Tons of small platforms, integrations everywhere, fragmentation. We're now moving into phase 2, consolidation around official, sanctioned partnerships. Think about mobile in 2008 versus 2024. At first, everyone accessed apps through custom channels. Now, official app stores. We're seeing the same thing happen with AI infrastructure, just faster. For builders, this means betting on first-party platforms and official partnerships rather than third-party middlewares. 11 Labs made a bold move. The company that became famous for jaw-dropping AI voice generation is expanding into image and video creation. This isn't just a product line extension, it's a strategic bet on what the next phase of AI looks like: integrated creative platforms. The pattern is unmistakable now. Companies that start with a single breakthrough, voice, text, images, are rapidly expanding to offer complete creative suites. Why? Because once you've built the infrastructure for one type of AI generation, scaling to adjacent media becomes almost inevitable. You already have the training pipelines, the inference systems, the safety frameworks. Expanding to images and video is an engineering problem, not a fundamental research problem. But there's something deeper happening. Creators have been exhausted by tool fragmentation. You need one tool for voice, another for images, another for video, each with different interfaces, different outputs, different learning curves. 11 Labs is betting that offering everything in one integrated package is a competitive advantage. They're probably right. As we move into 2026 and beyond, expect creative AI platforms to consolidate around a handful of major players who can offer full pipelines. Single-task AI tools are heading toward obsolescence. Google just published something that matters more than it sounds. TurboQuant is a new quantization technique that cuts memory requirements for running large language models by a factor of 6. That's not a marginal improvement. That's transformative. Here's why this matters beyond the technical specs. Running massive AI models is expensive because it requires massive amounts of memory. The bigger and more capable the model, the more hardware you need. That hardware is expensive, which locks AI deployment behind capital requirements. TurboQuant lets you run models that previously required enterprise-level infrastructure on commodity hardware. Suddenly, a startup or a small research lab can deploy the same models that used to be reserved for billion-dollar tech companies. This is infrastructure democratization. A six-fold reduction in memory requirements doesn't just save money, it changes who gets to participate in AI deployment. When infrastructure becomes cheaper, more people build on it. When more people build, innovation accelerates. Google isn't doing this out of pure altruism. They want developers using Google models and Google infrastructure. But the effect is genuine advancement. The hardware barrier to entry for AI deployment just got dramatically lower. Leverage your intelligence. Stay ahead of the machines. Find us at BotBuhdy.com.